Dear learner, in our previous module we discussed about classification, kingdom Monera and Protista, myself Pooja, and in this module we will discuss about kingdom Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Kingdom Fungi. This kingdom includes over 4,000 genera and 80,000 species. It is very large and diverse group. The study of fungi is known as mycology. The various common groups of fungi are called molds, rust, smut, mushrooms, toadstools, puffballs, etc. Fungus have the cellular organization either unicellular or multicellular, eukaryotic, having nucleus with proper cell wall, sometimes made up of fungal cellulose, sometimes chitin or both, but not pure cellulose. Fungus have filament-like structure known as hypha, which can be cynocytic or septate or aseptate, which in mass is called mycelium in the form of thallus, not differentiated into stem, roots and leaves. Mycelium is always uniseriate and never bi or multiseriate. Body is extremely delicate and thread-like. Fungus are devoid of chlorophyll or other photosynthetic pigments and non-green in color, and they are completely heterotrophic in nature. Most are saprophytic, means saprobes, organisms means absorb food from dead and decaying matter. The digestive enzymes are secreted through their cell wall into the medium, which convert the complex food into simpler food for absorption. Example, mucor, penicillium, aspergillus, agaricus, mushrooms, etc. Basically, fungus are decomposers. They help in recycling of inorganic and the organic molecules in the biosphere. Some forms of fungi are parasitic in nature and cause diseases in plants and animals. Example, rust fungi and smut fungi. While some grow in symbiotic association with algae to form lichen and show symbiotic relationship, while some forms of fungus grow with the roots of the higher plants and form mycorrhiza. Reserve food in fungi is glycogen, fat and oil, but not starch. Fungus can be useful as well as harmful also. They can cause diseases in human, plants and animals and can also be used in industries in the production of various products like hormones, breeds, etc. Fungus show all the three methods of reproduction. They are vegetative reproduction, means by fragmentation, budding, fission, etc. Second, asexual reproduction by the means of spores, mitospores, like asexual spores like zoospores, aplanospores, conidiospores and meiospores. Sexual spores like meioplanospores, mesospores, ascospores and basidiospores, etc. Third, sexual reproduction, which is of extremely different type in different fungi. Lower fungi show isogamy, in which fusion of the spores and gametes take place, which may be flagellate or aflagellate. Some fungi show oogamy, in which fusion takes place between larger non-flagellate female gamete and a smaller male gamete. Female sex organs are oogonium and male sex organs are entheridium. Sexual reproduction occurs in fungi by the fusion of sex cells, that is gametes, which occurs in three phases. First is plasmogamy, second karyogamy and third is meiosis. Plasmogamy. It is the first stage of sexual reproduction in which fusion of cytoplasm of the two opposite sex cells occur. Karyogamy. It is a fusion of two nucleus after plasmogamy which resulted in the formation of synkaryon. Meiosis. It is the division of diploid nucleus in higher forms of fungi. The karyogamy is delayed after plasmogamy and the fungus remains in the stage of dikaryo phase. Classification of fungi. The true fungi or eumycetes are classified into following four classes as follows. Lower fungi with uniseptate, cynocytic thallus, mycelium, phycomycetes. Higher fungi with well developed septate mycelium. Endogenously formed ascospores within ascus, ascomycetes. Exogenously formed basidiospores on basidium, that is basidiomycetes. Sexual reproduction absent. Reproduction by conidia only, deuteromycetes, that is fungi imperfecti. Ascomycetes. Ascus, it means sac and mycetes means fungus. They mean sac fungi. The fungal forms included under Ascomycetes are commonly called sac fungi. These fungi are unicellular, haploid fungi, parasitic, uninuclear or saprophytic penicillium aspergillus in nature. Some parasitic forms of Ascomycetes are disease causing in plants, that is pathogenic in nature. For example, powdery mildew, the black mold which is known as aspergillus, blue mold known as penicillium. In majority of Ascomycetes, the thallus is highly developed, branched and with septate mycelium. The cells are uni, bi or multinucleate. Their hypha wall is composed of cellulose and contain chitin. These fungi produce endogenous meiospores called ascospores in special sac-like structures called ascus. The sac-like ascus is formed by the fusion of two hyphae. The two haploid nucleus of the opposite hyphae fuse together and form the diploid ascus. The 8 ascospores are formed in one ascus by the process of meiosis during sexual reproduction. In some Ascomycetes, cup fungi and edible morels, many asci are born in a fruiting body called ascocarp. The main feature of Ascomycetes is the absence of motile structure in their life. They reproduce vegetatively, asexually and sexually. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation of mycelium, which is very common. Asexual reproduction takes place by budding, fission by the formation of conidia which born on conidiophores, that is a special type of hypha, while sexual reproduction is oogamous through ascospores which are within the mycelium, that is in a sac-like structure called ascus, in which gametes present, which are non-motile, represented as either positive plus or negative minus. The fusion of gametes followed by meiosis which result in the formation of haploid ascus. Examples of Ascomycetes are yeast, aspergillus and penicillium, etc. Now we are discussing about the economic importance of fungi. The Ascomycetes are extremely important to man because of their beneficial as well as harmful activities. Some beneficial activities. Many examples of fungi like aspergillus and penicillium are used in bakery, brewing, manufacture of some organic acids, vitamins, cheese, etc. Few forms of fungi like Morchella are edible and form highly prized food in continental Europe. Harmful activities. The parasitic Ascomycetes are the worst enemies of man as they cause serious diseases in plants like powdery mildew of grapes, ergot of rye, and in animals including man like athlete's foot. Some saprophytic Ascomycetes like aspergillus and penicillium, etc. cause spoilage of food, leather, fabric, timber, etc. Now Basidiomycetes, the club fungi. This is the most advanced class of kingdom fungi. They are called club fungi because of a club shaped mycelium known as basidium which produces basidiospores which are 4 in number. The fungi of class Basidiomycetes are commonly known as mushrooms, puffballs, rust, smut, etc. which are saprophytic species. Basidiomycetes are grow in soil, on log and tree stumps, in living plant bodies as parasite, example rust and smut. The rust and smuts are the most dangerous parasites of food crops. These fungi are the best decomposers of the waste material like cellulose and lignin. Some forms of class Basidiomycetes are parasitic in nature which causes destructive diseases in various plants and animals. The thallus of Basidiomycetes fungus is highly branched perennial mycelium. The fungi of class Basidiomycetes have filamentous, branched and septate hypha which in mass called mycelium. Each septum has a central pore. In the life cycle of Basidiomycetes passes through the 2 different phases. Monokaryote phase, this is primary mycelium, that is short-lived phase, does not contain any sex organs, it never produces basidia or basidiospores. Second, dikaryotic phase, secondary mycelium which is a long-lived phase. Each cell contains 2 nuclei, one plus means positive and another minus negative strain nucleus. These fungi reproduces by different types of spores. Sexual reproduction is very much reduced and involve union of the 2 nuclei of the opposite plus and minus in a dikaryon which is called karyogamy. The sex organs never formed. They reproduces under 3 sexual reproductive stages: plasmogamy, karyogamy and meiosis. No motile structures are present in their life cycle. In higher forms of Basidiomycetes produces fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. Example of Basidiomycetes are agaricus, bracket fungi, Ustilago, etc. Now the economic importance. Some forms of Basidiomycetes are edible and have the great demand like agaricus. Coprinus is used in manufacturing of oil, ink. Some mushrooms like toadstools are highly poisonous. Poor fungi causes heavy damage in the railway tracks and timber and make them weak. Many Basidiomycetes form mycorrhizal association with the roots of forest trees and help them in absorption of nutrient. Clavacea, that is a puffball, contains anti-cancer substance called clavicin. Rust and smut cause many dangerous diseases of the important crop plants, resulting in heavy losses. Deuteromycetes, that is fungi imperfecti. The imperfect fungi in Deuteromycetes, this asexual life cycle is known as imperfect stage, while the sexual stage is called perfect stage. There are thousands of imperfect fungi, of which many are saprophyte and many are parasitic in nature. A imperfect fungus called Arthrobotrys is a predatory fungus which feeds on living worms called nematodes. So, these are called nematophagous fungi. The thallus structure of Deuteromycetes are well developed. Septa with a central pore, highly branched septate mycelium. In majority of the imperfect fungi, mycelium is monokaryotic and dikaryotic mycelium is also not uncommon. Most forms of Deuteromycetes are parasitic and responsible for causing diseases in animals, plants and humans. Fungi imperfecti are extremely important because many of them are pathogenic and causes many harmful diseases in plants, animals and man. Imperfect fungi have a large impact on everyday human life. The food industry relies on them for ripening some cheeses. The blue veins in the Roquefort cheese and the white crust on the camembert are the result of the fungal growth. Many fungal diseases that infect the human belong to this group, including species which cause ringworm, athlete's foot, aspergillosis and conidia, which form the yeast infections known to many. They reproduce by sexual and asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction occurs by the formation of conidia, etc., which produces exogenously on erect conidiophores. Conidia are always non-motile, non-flagellate. Sexual reproduction is absent. Some examples are trichoderms, alternaria, etc. Some of these fungi do not produce spores. Non-sporulating fungi are able to propagate themselves by fragmenting the hypha or by producing a mass of hypha called a sclerotium. Kingdom Plantae. They are photosynthetic producers. The members of Kingdom Plantae are immobile. Some forms multicellular, eukaryotic with proper cell wall composed of cellulose, having body with the proper tissue and organ-like structures. Green plants from algae to angiosperm. They are either autotrophs, parasite, insectivorous like Nepenthes, Drosera, etc., while some show symbiotic relationship like legumes. These are the primary source of organic food and ATP energy source for all living organisms and the only source of oxygen on earth. Hence, these are the most essential and primary source of energy of any ecosystem on this earth. They store food mainly in the form of starch. They do not follow definite growth pattern and adults do not resemble to the miniature ones. They do not show sensory and neuromotor mechanism. The plant kingdom is classified into divisions such as algae, bryophyte, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Among these, algae are the most simplest, primitive and aquatic plants, while rest are terrestrial in nature. Algae contains chlorophyll, but some have additional red pigment, that is phycoerythrin, and called red algae, while some others have additional yellowish brown pigment called brown algae. The mode of reproduction in algae is vegetative, for example by fragmentation, asexual by spores and sexual by gametes and gamete union. Angiosperms are the most evolved, highly specialized, complicated plants with the proper vascular tissue and well differentiated body. These are flowering plants which produces both seeds and fruits. Angiosperms are classified as dicot and monocot, means dicotyledons and monocotyledons. Reproduction occurs either by asexually or sexually. In general, the life cycle of this group of plants is completed in two phases: gametophytic, that is haploid phase, and sporophytic, that is diploid phase, means 2N, which alternate with one another. The diploid zygote 2N undergoes meiosis to form haploid N spores which germinate into gametophyte. Then, these gametes male and female fuse to form zygote, diploid structure, again which give rise to sporophyte. The phenomena is known as alternation of generation. Now, kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia includes multicellular, eukaryotic, without chlorophyll, no cell wall, cellular tissue or organ type of body organization is present in different forms. They are mobile due to the contraction and relaxation of the muscles. Organisms that live rooted to one spot are sessile and those that move around are motile. Even the most sessile animals can move at least part of their bodies. This movement is dependent on how animals obtain food. Nutrition in animals is heterotrophic, or some forms are parasitic in nature like tapeworm and roundworms. Most animals inhabit the seas, with fewer in fresh water and even fewer on land. Animal cells are held together by structural protein such as collagen. Animals range in size from number more than a few cells like the mesozoans to organisms weighing many tons like the blue whale. The bodies of most animals, all except sponges, are made up of cells organized into tissues. Each tissue is specialized to perform specific function. In most animals, tissues are organized into even more specialized organs. Cells from tissues, tissues from organs, and organs from organ system. This is how an organism develops. These cells have to differentiate and become specialized in various ways. Cell structure. The nucleus, nucleolus, ribosomes, smooth ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum, rough ER, endoplasmic reticulum, nuclear membrane, Golgi body, lysosome, mitochondria, centrioles, cytoskeleton, vacuoles. They show quick response to external stimuli through the transmission of the nerve impulse by nerve cells. Sponges do not possess as nerve cells. They have reserve food in the form of glycogen or fat. They follow definite growth pattern and grow into adult, which resembles to the miniature ones. The higher forms show sensory and neuromotor mechanism. Adult animals develop from embryos. Small masses of unspecialized cells, simple animals can regenerate or grow back missing parts. It is observed that the biologically diverse animals are classified taking into account certain common fundamental features. The features are body pattern, body symmetry, body segmentation, body cavity or coelom, morphology, etc. Animal world shows immense biological diversity, but all animals perform the same basic function necessary survival. Most animals reproduce sexually by means of differentiated haploid cells, eggs and sperms. Most animals are diploid, meaning that the cells of adults contain 2 copies of genetic material. The sexual reproduction occurs sexually by gamete formation in specialized organs called gonads. So, my dear learner, let's recapitulate the points that we have discussed. In kingdom fungi, 3 phases like plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. Plasmogamy. It is the first stage of sexual reproduction in which fusion of cytoplasm of the 2 opposite sex cells occur. Karyogamy. It is a fusion of 2 nucleus after plasmogamy which resulted in the formation of synkaryon. Meiosis. It is the division of diploid nucleus. In higher forms of fungi, the karyogamy is delayed after the plasmogamy and the fungus remains in the stages of dikaryophase. Kingdom Plantae. The photosynthetic producers. The member of the kingdom Plantae are immobile, some forms multicellular, eukaryotic with proper cell wall composed of cellulose, having body with proper tissue and organ-like structure. Green plants from algae to angiosperm. They are either autotroph, parasitic, insectivorous like Nepenthes, Drosera, etc., while some show symbiotic relationships like legumes. Kingdom Animalia. It includes multicellular eukaryotic without chlorophyll, no cell wall, cellular tissues or organ or body organization is present in different forms. So hope you have all enjoyed the modules.